Hello dear students of class 4 and welcome to yet another online class of general knowledge. Dear children, today I am going to start lesson number 8, Library Etiquettes. Library Etiquettes. Now before we start, I would like to explain to you the meaning of etiquettes. Etiquette means mannerisms. Mannerisms or proper way of doing something. Proper way of doing something. Okay, dear children. Now you see, dear children, to do any work, any kind of work, okay, whether we are eating or whether we are sitting with elders or whether we are in a movie hall, whether we are on the road, there are certain things we have to follow. If we don't follow them, we will not be considered as civilized. We will not be considered as mannerful. So, those proper regulations or proper rules which we need to follow in order to appear civilized are known as etiquettes. Okay, mostly you might have heard that etiquettes are mostly related to eating. Like you must have heard about eating etiquettes like washing hands before, sitting properly, keeping napkin on the lap and in the chest area, right? Eating with spoon and fork, not talking while eating, right? But like I told you earlier, there are etiquettes related to everything. And in this chapter, particularly, dear children, we are going to learn about library etiquettes. Now, you all already know that library is a place where we go to read. Where we go to read. We find loads and loads of books out there. Book lovers all over the world, they love going to library, especially those who can't afford books on their own or who don't have big space in the house to keep a lot of books. So library, like I told you, is a place where there are loads and loads of books. Dear children, the biggest library in the world is the British Library, which holds more than 17 million items. 17 million items, books, journals, magazines, newspapers, anything worth reading is preserved there. Now, if you go to such a place, you need to follow certain rules, certain regulations, certain mannerisms. That's what we will be talking about today. So let's begin with the library etiquettes. Now, dear children, first rule in any library, if you go there, is maintain silence in the library. In the library. You see, dear children, first rule that we have to follow in any library is to maintain silence. Library is a place where we go to read, where we concentrate on reading. If we make noise out there, it will become difficult for others as well as yourself to focus on studies. Hence, the first rule in any library is maintaining silence. Second rule, do not eat or drink in the library. We should not eat or drink in the library. The reason is very clear, dear children. Apart from the fact that it will create a munching noise, right, and then disturb the silent atmosphere, one more fact is that library contains many expensive and rare books. Now, by accident, if you spill your food or drink on that book, there is a good chance the book will get spoiled. Hence, eating or drinking in library is prohibited. It should be avoided. Third thing, share the books. Share the books. See, books in library are a public property. No one can claim a single book as his or her own. It means if you are reading something and another one is in need of it, after you have finished reading, you must kindly give it to him or her. Or if it's urgency, you can just give him, wait and get it back and learn. In short, whatever is in the library, book, magazine, journal, newspaper, it should be shared among everybody. No one should claim it as his or her private property. Then comes etiquette number 4. Never write, tear or scribble on the pages of the book. Like I told you, books in library are a public property, right? And public property, like every other public property, needs to be preserved. Hence, one thing you should remember is you should not write on the pages of the book, you should not tear the pages of the book, and you should not scribble, that is make scratching marks or draw on the pages of the book. In short, you cannot spoil the books, because if you spoil the books, it will become difficult for others who need it to take it and learn. Coming to number 5. Never run or jump in the library. Never run or jump in the library. Dear children, this rule corresponds with the first rule. Running or jumping creates noise in the library, and library is a place where silence needs to be maintained. Hence, we should not run or jump in the library. Number 6. Take the help of the librarian in finding a book. Children, librarian is a person who is responsible for the management of library. In short, he is responsible for the arrangement of books. He is responsible for overseeing which books are borrowed, right? He is responsible for helping the people who come to the library. So in short, if you can't find any book in the library, you must refer to the librarian, take his or her help. Don't go book hunting on your own, because in library, dear children, all the books are arranged in a proper sequential order, right? So if you may not find the book, what you will do, you will take out some books, put them here, you will take out some books from here, put them there. In short, you will be spoiling the arrangement of the library, and that needs to be avoided. That needs to be avoided. That's why, dear children, please remember, whenever you are in library and you need a book, kindly refer to the librarian. Librarian will help you in finding the book without creating any mess in the library. Okay? Now coming to number 7. Mark the page of the book with a bookmark. Do not fold the page. Do not fold the page. Now children, we must always mark the page of a book with a bookmark. We should not fold the page of the book. You see, sometimes, dear children, especially when you are going through a big book like a novel, right, a story book, it's not necessary that you will finish it reading in a day. But library, as sad as it is, has fixed working hours. Library opens at certain time and closes at certain time. So what happens, many a time, people, they take a book, they start reading it, but they are not able to finish it in the particular day, right? Now if the library has borrowing facilities, you can borrow the book, take it home and read it. But if not, most of the people, what they do, they fold the page of the book to where they have read, and they have kept it, they keep it. So this needs to be avoided. This needs to be avoided. What you have to do, if you are not able to finish reading the book, right, instead of folding the page up to where you have read, you can simply mark it with a bookmark. Every book in the library has a piece called a bookmark. It's a piece of hard cardboard which you can fix it up to where you have read, and next time when you come, you can take the book, you can take the bookmark out, and you can start reading from there. Often there is a thread also, like you might have seen in the diary, which you can put it, and that thread acts as a bookmark. This will help you start exactly from where you have finished reading last time. So you see, dear children, if you are in a library and you are reading a book and the book hasn't finished, right, instead of folding the pages and turning the pages or spoiling the pages of the book, what you can do, you can simply use the bookmark and mark the page of the book up to where you have read. In this way, you will not do any damage to the book also, and you will able to continue reading. Okay. Number 8. Always turn over the pages carefully. Always turn over the pages carefully. Now, dear children, often this happens with our school books also. When we are turning books, often we turn the pages very fast. In that case, what happens? Sometimes the pages get torn, right? And we have already learned in our rule number 4, we should not tear the pages of the book. So in order to avoid the tearing of the page while turning it, one thing that we can do is, whenever we have to turn, instead of turning it like this, right, instead of turning it like this, we can hold the top corner of the book and turn the page slowly. Hold the top corner of the book and turn it slowly. Like, suppose this is your book. So instead of turning it like this, right, you are reading it, it's done. Hold the top corner of the book like this. Take the page, turn it like this. Understood? Turn it like this. See. Here, you hold the top corner like this, right, and turn it like this. This way what happens, you will be able to turn your book without doing any damage to it. In fact, dear children, this rule you can apply while dealing with your books. Most of you have purchased your books just now, they are brand new, you don't want any tear on them, but there is a good chance if you are turning it like this, it might get torn. So in order to avoid that at home also, you can use this method for turning the page of the book, and this way you will not do any damage to your book also. Now coming to the last rule. Carry your library book in your bag safely and keep it safely at home. So we must carry our library book in our school bag safely, and we must keep it safely at home. Children, if you borrow a book from library and you take it home, it becomes your responsibility to take care of the book. Now, dear children, in order to take care of the book, first thing you need to do is, when you take it home, you need to keep it very carefully in your bag. You cannot tear it, right? You cannot keep it in such a way that pages or the hard cover out gets folded, right? Because it will leave a very nasty mark. Often this kind of thing leads to imposition of fine by the library. So in order to avoid that, dear children, you must remember that when you take the book in your school bags home, you must take it very carefully. Also, when you have taken the library book home, right, you must keep it very safely away from your younger siblings, that is your younger brother and sister. You see, most of you have very small brothers and sisters at your home, and they don't know anything about the book. If they get their hands on it, there is a good chance they will end up tearing the pages of the book or scribbling something on it, which you don't want. So when you have taken the library books home, be sure to keep it in such a place where your younger siblings are not able to reach it. So dear children, these are the 9 etiquettes of the library, or you can say library etiquettes. These are the 9 things we must remember when we are visiting the library. Now children, as far as your homework goes, out of these 9, choose any 5 library etiquettes, write them in your GK notebook and learn them. Once again, I am telling you homework. Choose any 5 library etiquettes from the 9, write it in your GK notebook and learn. Thank you very much. Stay safe.